who knows me knows I love my sister. She is my best friend, and that's why I love the two women I'm about to interview and introduce you to. These are Rochester sisters, Angela and Julie. Is it Scipione?
Yes,
okay.
Very good.
They have co-written a book called Iris and Lily about sisters living apart, one in the U.S., the other in Italy. Fictional, this book is, but it is based upon your own experiences. So you are Angela and you are Julie.
Yes.
The book is called Iris and Lily. It's already won rave reviews overseas in Italy, where it debuted in Turin,
That's
I
right.
understand?
Yes.
Okay, so you live in Italy.
I live in the seaside town of Camoglia in the Italian Riviera, yes.
Yeah, and you live here in Rochester.
I live here in Rochester, yes, my whole
How
life.
did you get the idea to write a book about sisters, being sisters, and basically the sisters are living in one's in Italy, one's in the United States. It mirrors your exact experience, right?
Right. Well, that's kind of the backdrop for the story, but the real heart of the story around that is how we ended up that way, how these two little girls, who aren't us, I mean, it is a work of fiction, but we, in our own life, obviously, we realized that circumstances that we shared created very different responses in us and the way we lived our lives. And so these little girls kind of tell a story like that, like how they grew up in this really big family with not enough money, not enough love, not enough attention, with cultural influences that were working upon them and their family, and how they responded to it so differently that it resulted in two completely different lives from two women who grew up together.
It's interesting because anyone who comes from a big family probably says, it's amazing that I'm even related to that person. How am I related to them when we're so different?
Right, right. In fact, one of the themes that comes through in Iris and Lily is the fact that two people, or many people, in the same family that have experienced the same situations can have two totally different perceptions of that experience.
Okay. Let me ask you this about the two characters. So, can you get that book? Because I want to be able to see it. I think there's a book that the two characters. One of them lives back here in the United States. The other marries a man and moves to Italy, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. And it tells the story, the parallel story of their lives.
Right. So we have the first half of the book set here of Iris and Lily set, in Rochester. There are many familiar locations.
Yeah, in the 60s and 70s.
So it's like travels back in time. And then at a certain point, the paths of the sisters diverge. They keep crossing, but it's written in alternating chapters, an Iris chapter and a Lily chapter. So we have one chapter taking place in Italy, one chapter taking place in America. So the reader is brought back and forth to all these different situations, meeting new cultures, experiencing the themes, the problems that women experience as they grow through their marriages, their relationships, their own families. Yes.
And as they begin to age and look back at their lives,
Let me ask you this. You wrote the book, and the way you wrote it is very unique. You wrote it by email.
Yeah.
You didn't have you couldn't, always call each other or say, hey, I'm going to come over and we could talk about this chapter.
Right.
Yes. You did it concurrently, but on different continents.
Which was really important, too, because it forced both of us to just be really true and honest about how we felt about the story and how we felt about the characters. We didn't influence each other a lot.
Can I ask you this?
Because we were separated. So
let me ask you this. You two are sisters, all right? I know what I know. I love my sister more than anyone. But let me ask you this. Did writing this book bring you closer together, or were there ever times when you disagreed with each other and you had to say, I disagree with my sister?
Both.
Yeah, we traveled to the edge of not being able to stand each other.
Yeah. This is not something we did lightly. It took 4 years to do it, okay? The whole first draft, over a year and a half, it was very difficult. We decided to just write from the heart, and we were sort of on a telepathic type of wavelength.
As sisters are.
It was really amazing to see that happen.
But it was a good thing that we couldn't see each other and talk to each other, because we had a little bit of distance, and that allowed us to be more honest.
Where can we get the book? You got 10 seconds.
Oh, you can get it on Amazon.com for Kindle, or you can get the Italian version also on Amazon.
It's in Italian, too?
Yes, of course. It was published in Italy first.
Julie was over for the launch in May. And